This week on CNN.
I told y'all I didn't vote, right? But I didn't tell you. I guess I told you. But if I would have voted, I would have voted on Trump.
Meanwhile, this week in real life, real f***ing news.
We need medical transport! Get it all. You got the
Jacket off.
It seems that mainstream news sites such as CNN have learned absolutely nothing from Trump's victory. In part due to their negligence and relentless coverage of non-newsworthy topics, many of their viewers remained uninformed of the real goings-on in this world, oblivious to issues that need actual focus. They continue to spend the majority of their time feasting on the lowest hanging fruit, believing that that is what the American people need to hear about, while protesters in North Dakota are being treated like animals by animals wearing riot gear. Since April 2016, hundreds of protesters have occupied the Standing Rock Native American Reservation to oppose the construction of the Dakota Access Pipeline on the grounds of potential water contamination and the breaching of sacred Native American landmarks. These protesters have been victims of police brutality ranging from rubber bullets to mace to the latest use of powerful water cannons in already freezing conditions, causing numerous cases of hypothermia and horrific injuries to try and demoralize the resilient crowd. These attacks are barbaric, they're deliberate, and most importantly, they're f***ing illegal. But barely any mainstream media outlets with the ability to reach millions have spent time covering these sickening events. Why, you may ask? Well, after all, this story has all the ingredients necessary to make for an interesting piece, right? We've got protesters, police violence, and a clear cause. Similar fundamentals to that had these same sources all over events in Ferguson, the Tea Party, the Bundy Ranch, etc. But for some reason, the No Access Dakota Pipeline protests get such short coverage. Because we have to remember that this action directly threatens corporate interests. The same corporate interests that keep the mainstream media lights on and the pockets lined.
All the big media companies, so they control just about all of the news and information you get to hear. They got you by the balls.
So instead, we've got Kanye West's recent but nonetheless utterly important endorsement of Donald Trump a week after the election that takes priority over these atrocities. And people wonder why liberals have no faith in establishment media. The lack of coverage on this matter from both mainstream outlets and establishment politicians reflects the disconnect between what they consider important and what they should be focused on. But we need to hold ourselves accountable also. Instead of condemning this lack of coverage, we're too busy playing into a narrative that supports their negligence. We're too busy vilifying all Trump supporters, rather than turn some of our attention towards the role that the mainstream media has played in the election of Donald Trump. We remain infatuated by everything they put out as news that is somewhat relevant to Donald Trump, which is why he was so dangerous to begin with, and why these outlets continue to flood your feed with this garbage, as it still gets viewers. We continue to blame the majority of Trump supporters we demonize as our opposition, whilst we let outlets such as CNN off the hook. An outlet that did nothing but glorify the Democratic Party, spew hate towards any who opposed, and deflect from the real issues that Americans should be aware of.
The questions that he's asking about Clinton and the Goldman Sachs speeches, transcripts, for instance, those are wrapped in you are too close to the banks, but those are character attacks. That is what it is.
Does this mean we turn a blind eye to the Trump administration's atrocious policies? No, don't be ridiculous. But it means we also condemn those who continue to follow the establishment practices that put us in this predicament in the first place, such as those media personalities who would rather bloviate about Mike Pence's Hamilton experience or Trump's 3 a.m. tweets, rather than inform the American public of the extreme violence being inflicted upon defenders in North Dakota. Donald Trump was able to tap into the mindset of Americans facing adversity because he acknowledged their quest for change. A f***ing terrifying change at that, but a change from the norm. He gave them attention, all while Hillary Clinton, the Democratic Party, and their talking heads in front of the camera neglect core grassroots issues that mean more to everyday voters than they, in their establishment bubble, could ever imagine. Such as the No Access Dakota Pipeline protest that neither Hillary nor the current President of the United States have spent 5 minutes talking about. The actions of North Dakota demonstrates a breach of human rights, the horrific reality of what a privatized police force looks like, and the disregard for an already oppressed group and their land. But the lack of coverage highlights how far the mainstream media have fallen. They have abandoned their role as a news outlet and will never be called as much from me. And we at the Young Turks won't stand for it. Not on our watch. Not only are hundreds of protesters' lives in danger, but the sheer greed of this project threatens the water supply for 18 million people. It is real and it is now, but unfortunately, all you will hear on this matter is crickets if you only get your news from mainstream media puppets in thrall to their puppet masters.